Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily create a benchmarking chart within Inzata. This is a chart to show you how something compares across the whole of those somethings. So to do that, I'm going to go into Inboard first, and this is what I'm going to create a benchmarking chart of. So what I have here is all of my states with their transactions laid out. And instead of looking at it in this way and just sort of eyeballing how the different states went, I want to see this as a chart showing me percentiles and where a selected state falls in relation to all the other states. So to do that, what I'm first going to do is create a new version of this metric. Because what I'm going to wind up doing is I want to filter to select this metric, but I don't want to filter the whole list, if that makes sense, because if I add a control right now, so I'll actually do that first, since I'll need to select my states anyway. I'll say selected state to benchmark. I'll call it SEL state. I'll make this text, and I will give it my lookup of state, and I'll make its default Florida, as I have done in other videos. So now I have that control set up. I again have to link it here. So I'll add that control. So I'll drag down my attribute, link my bind key with my 4% signs, SEL state, make sure to spell it right, and hit apply. And now I can see I'm looking at Florida, but now I can't see any of my other states. So the way I can make Inzata show me all my other states as well and enable that benchmarking is very easy. All I have to do is select the metric I want to benchmark with, which is my transaction total. And now I can see this, and I want to create a copy of this metric. So I'm just going to copy this bind key here as an optional step. But the main thing that I need to do is hit edit and then tell it to force ignore, one word, the attribute I want to benchmark against, which is my zip state. So I'll drop that in. I'll validate my AQL and then save as, because I want this to be a new metric, and I'll just call it benchmark sum total transaction, and that'll be the name I give it as well. And I'll get rid of that description, save as, and now when I go back here and I drop in my new benchmarked value, I want to make sure it's the first metric. I can see all my other states showing up, and thanks to my filter, the other value showing only data for Florida. So what does that allow me to do? That allows me to go to this format menu here, where I can change this to, we'll say, a spline chart, and this checkbox here, show median on x-axis, we'll change it into a percentile chart where I can see all of my states and how they compare. I can also make this a little bit stand out a little bit more, and that red dot here is the state I have selected. So when I hit save, go to show to play around with it, let's see where New York is. See, okay, New York's towards the top. Let's look at District of Columbia. Well, District of Columbia is further towards the bottom. And now when I select my different states, I see where they fall on this continuum of all my states, and I also see how this looks as a whole. So I can see that, for example, right around my like 80th, 85th percentile maybe, we really start turning up the amounts, whereas below that we have pretty linear relation of the data. So this benchmarking chart allows you to explore things like that very easily. All you have to do is create that copy of your metric.